Continues at 7:18. I promised you a report on bidding wars for homes. This is pretty interesting. Scott Higashi joins us from Prudential Locations, and this is the time of year where you look back at the numbers that you've gathered all through 2011. So 1 in 5 houses that went on the market, there was a bidding war?
That's right. 1 in 5 single-family homes that went on the market in 2010 actually got more than their asking price. And 1 in 10 condos got more than their asking price. Now, some of that could be because sellers were reasonable in their asking prices, but a lot of it has to do with this pent-up demand in the market. Low interest rates, folks really trying to get into that new home, and they've had to go in for more than asking. A phenomenon that we actually hadn't seen a lot of since the peak years back in 04, 05 in that area.
Let me ask you about where the houses are, because one of the things I thought I noticed in the January stats, it looked like the longer the commute, the less demand, that the prices were higher for close-in things as traffic gets worse.
Well, there's no question that what low interest rates have allowed people to do is move up into homes in neighborhoods that they might not have been able to afford before. And so it's true that where folks can save on commute, or they can be closer to schools or closer to work, those homes tend to be in more demand. And as you know, the market is really made up of buyers. And so the more buyers in the marketplace, that's what creates that demand. And there have been more buyers in certain parts of town. It's all about the neighborhoods, as you know.
Okay, now we said bidding wars, 1 in 5 houses. It was 1 in 10 condos that had bidding wars last year. And finally, the other thing was you noticed an increase in first-time buyers finally getting into the market.
That's right. For us, 43% of our buyers last year were first-time home buyers. And knowing that makes us realize that, hey, there's actually a group of folks out there still interested in, and rates, lending programs, and of course the availability of some inventory. All of those three combinations say, hey, we've got to really pay attention to them. So we've actually restarted some first-time home buyer seminars. You can find it on our site, prudentiallocations.com, and hopefully we'll provide more resources for them, because it's a tough process when you first start off.
Oh yeah, well, for anybody it's enormously complicated, but it occurs to me, we always talk about this from an economic point of view. But from a social point of view, there are a lot of people in their 20s that are overdue to get onto this track.
Right, and when you look at the studies, if you buy a home and live in it, regardless of what's going on in the economic circumstances, buying a home and living in it is still a better economic picture for you in 10 years than renting.
Right. Plus, there was that Harris Interactive poll this morning that says 1/3 of all women would prefer to date a guy who owns a house.
Hey, we'll take it any way we can.
It's Scott Higashi from Prudential Locations. Dan has your traffic.